What's going on, everyone? I am Ernest Dove. This is the New York Mets Dove Report, sponsored by maxmets.blogspot.com. That is maxmets.blogspot.com. They talk everything New York Mets, obviously, even from the major leagues to the minor leagues, all throughout opinions, analysis, thoughts, stats, everything. You're going to find it there on the site. Hop on it now at all times, along with my YouTube channel on the New York Mets Dove Report. Today, my guest is, if you could have guessed it, I know it's a shocker, another Mets pitching prospect in the organization. He comes out of Mercer. He is an undrafted player signed this past season. And out of nowhere, he starts in pro ball with my favorite St. Lucie Mets, ends the season all the way in AAA. Yep, low A to AAA within like a month. I'm going to definitely get into that. Let's talk some baseball with my favorite new kitchen sink lefty who only throws strikes. His name is Colton Cosper. How are you, my friend?
Doing good. Very good. I appreciate you having me today.
Oh, I was super excited to have you on the show, man. Some of the journeys and stories like yourself, I needed to know about it immediately, so I'm glad we can work this out during the off season. Did my little intro of sorts, but I also want to get some more info and some detail on the process because someone like yourself, I talk about guys that are drafted. I also have interviewed guys who are undrafted. And I learned that process. One of my favorite guys back in the day, Griffin, he went through indie ball and everything else. Now I wanted to ask someone like yourself, coming out of Mercer, what was the process and the journey that led you to signing with the Mets in August after the draft?
Well, it was a very long and unique process. So after Mercer, I thought I had a chance to get drafted.
Mhm.
Then my coach was like, "Hey, you might need to go play somewhere if you want to continue playing." I was like, "All right, I'm gonna see if I can get in the draft league." So I tried to get in the first half of the draft league,
Mhm.
but I tried to get in too late. And then randomly one day I just finished working summer camps at Mercer with our coach, and so I was going to cash a check in the bank. The bank was taking a little too long, so I just got on my phone checking emails. Draft lead sent me an email, wanted me to come play in the second half, and they wanted me to report for practice on day two of the draft. So that would have been July 14th, I think. So I reported there, checking my phone to see if any of my buddies got drafted or if I was hearing anything. Didn't hear anything. And then our first game was July 16th.
Mhm.
And I'd been throwing, but like not probably game ready. And then they're like, all right, you're starting first game this season. I was like, all right. So I started that game. I had 3 starts in 11 days. After every start, I was like asking my coach or
Mhm.
have you heard anything? And they're like, no, I haven't heard anything. Then randomly during the game, I was supposed to start again the next day. I get a call from the Mets, and then I missed the call because we were actually in a game. And then my Mercer coach was blowing my phone up. He's like, "You need to answer your phone." And I was like, "Well, I'm in the middle of a game right now." He's like, "Well, the Mets are calling, so forget that game." I was like, "All right, sounds good." So I called them. He asked me if I wanted to sign, and I drove 13 hours back home from Pennsylvania, and then the next day I got on a plane to Florida, and then signed a couple days after I got cleared.
Woo! And then we're
It
definitely going to get into what happened when you entered pro ball. But before I start
was,
getting into that fascinating, quick journey of bumping up levels, I also want to take it right from the beginning now. That's an amazing journey in and of itself. Now I
Mhm.
want you to hype yourself. Can you let my viewers and all the minor league junkies out there know all about Colton Cosper? Can you talk about your arsenal of pitches that you throw? Anything new that you immediately started working on with the Mets and their fancy analytics and coaching staff? And also let us know how you are on the mound as a player, as a competitor.
Okay. So I've been the Friday night starter for Mercer the past 3 years, and they've always told me they've been trying to replace me the past two. I mean, which is their job, but my job is to make sure I don't get replaced. And
Mhm.
then, so I throw strikes, like you said, throw a lot of strikes. Compete in the zone. I'd rather somebody get a hit off me than me walk them. I'd rather them beat me than me beat myself and walk them. So, um, I throw four different pitches: fastball, changeup, curveball, Wilson knuckle curve, and I also throw a knuckleball. But I have not thrown that in pro ball yet. I threw it in college a little bit. Coach really didn't want me to throw it at
Mhm.
college because our catcher couldn't catch it. But it's a very, very good pitch. And then since being with the Mets, I've added a cutter, which has actually been very good for
Mhm.
me. And then I've also started to work on a sweeper a little bit.
Mhm.
I haven't thrown that much. Probably work on that more whenever I go back in the spring. But yeah, other than that, I'm just a super big competitor. I'm probably the most competitive person that you might ever meet. And anything like baseball, life, anything I'm doing, I'm trying to win. And I hate losing. And I don't know, I just pitch with like a fire, like super nice guy off the field, and then on the field I'm locked in all the time, and it's go time, time to win.
Yeah. And I know even off air, I was kind of joking with you, so now I'll bring it up. But like when I started describing you to my audience and to everybody on X and social media, not knowing enough about you, I'm like, well, he looks like a kitchen sink thrower. And I know there's terms I call kitchen sink. There's guys with the soft tossing lefty. Um,
Mhm.
I want to know too, have you heard some of those labels and terms, and
Oh
what do
yeah.
you consider yourself? Because I've seen it in the games, even per at bat, per inning, you may throw everything. You'll throw all four pitches in one at bat. You don't usually see that even in pro ball, in the low levels. Sometimes guys practice one pitch at a time. So, what are
Mhm.
your thoughts on me already labeling you the kitchen sink guy?
I mean, I like it. It gives me a nickname, so I mean, people can roll with it. But yeah, I don't know. I just have a great feel in the mound. I can throw any pitch whenever in the count, wherever I want it. And I think I have to be able to do that because, as you know, I don't throw the hardest, but I do throw my fastball a lot too. But I don't know. I just the way it plays sometimes, like you'll see one come out like 87, and dudes are getting their doors blown off, and it's like, how is he late on that? But I've seen and heard that my whole life, so I don't know. I think it's halfway mentality and like mechanically too. Like I'm not a big analytics guy. I don't really look into the numbers too much. Like
Mhm.
if somebody tells me, "Oh, this is really good," I'm like, "Well, how is it good?" Because I have no idea about it. But I'm more on like the results. Like if I do throw it good, get them out, I'm good. But the Mets have
Yeah,
done a really good job at explaining all that to me and showing me how I fall into all the categories and all that, and making it easier to understand.
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I feel like even a lot of the stuff online, like MILB Pipeline website, it's like maybe they don't even know what you're throwing because when you're throwing pitches out there and you go into the game box in the game section, they have you just basically throwing like 50 changeups in the game.
Oh yeah,
I don't even think they know what you're throwing yet. So it's pretty fascinating. I don't even know if you or your family and friends check it. What's he throwing? Oh, he's throwing the changeup 62 times last
yeah.
week. Uh, I don't even think they know what you got yet. So there's going to be a long way to go. And yeah, I did mention the strike throwing. So now you pretty much answered it like, whatever. I hate walking guys. I don't even want to test it. So why bother? I think even in the draft league, I don't even know if you walked a guy in those two, three outings. Uh,
I did. I might have had one only. I think, or I hit a guy. I hit a guy. That's it.
oh, well, there you go.
Fastball in. I went a little too far in.
As far as so quick now into pro ball, I want to just ask anyway. Um, so you said you were a starter in college. Here you are in pro ball now, and a lot of times those kitchen sink guys, lefties especially, they like to do the mixing and matching. We no longer have the Luigi of sorts with the new rules in baseball, but overall, as a projecting of yourself, do you see yourself as a starter or a reliever, or just, dude, I don't care, get me on the mound?
I'd say both. I really don't care. I'd prefer to be a starter. I
Mhm.
know whenever I first got there, they were going to try to keep me on the starter role.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the term, the piggyback term. So I wasn't familiar with that first. They were like, all right, you're going to piggyback whenever you pitch. And I was like, I have no idea what that is. They're like, basically, you're the second starter of the game. And I was like, all right, sounds good. As long as I'm getting in to showcase my ability and pitch, I'm fine. 1 inning, 2 innings, 5 innings, it doesn't really matter. As long as I go in and do the job, help the team win, that's all I really care about.
Yeah, and speaking of teams and helping and support, it was pretty fascinating, especially for a lot of the people like myself who follow the minor leagues and the coverage of the minor leagues. And this is something I definitely want to bring up about going back in time of sorts as well, because I've joked about it online. So you were signed, I may get the dates wrong, but you were signed on like August 5th. And then
Mhm.
on like August 13th, like 8 days after you sign a pro contract, you're on the mound going five scoreless in low A. I um I don't get it. That was crazy to me. Because my own version of a backstory. When I learn about guys, draft, undraft, when you get out, these guys are taking 2 to 3 weeks to kind of go through an orientation, hitters or pitchers. Some pitchers don't even take the mound after the draft year. How do you just sign a con? You said draft league out of nowhere, three random outings, then you're on the Mets. 8 days later, you're going 5 innings in professional baseball in low A. Huh? What were your thoughts on like literally a week and a day after the draft on the mound?
So after I signed, we started throwing just a little bit light, super light. And I threw, and he's all right, you're gonna throw a bullpen 2 days ago. 2 days go by.
Hmm.
And as I'm on the mound, they're like, all right, you're gonna be with the St. Lucie team and tomorrow. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, you're gonna be with the low A team. And I was like pitching? And they're like, yeah, pitching. And I was like, all right, sounds good. They're like, all right, all your stuff in your locker will be over there tomorrow after this bullpen. Good luck. I was like, thank you. And then I don't think I threw the first game I was with them. And then second game, I think we got in a rain delay that game. And I came back out after that and then pitched the rest of the game. On like 50 pitches or so.
Ooh, yeah, I've never really seen that a lot that quickly, especially like starter level, multiple innings. And just to make things more interesting in your journey in pro ball, you did a few outings in St. Lucie. You got thrown out there literally going five. Then I think you were coming out of the pen. And then I think like a week later, you're in the box scores, you're in the transaction page pitching for the Syracuse Mets, which by the way is triple A, not high A, not double A. You just skipped 2 levels and went all the way to the highest minor league level. How, what? Now I gotta say it again. I don't know what happened, but you tell me again in this whirlwind month of life in pro ball, how did that happen?
I'm gonna be completely honest. I do not know how that happened, but once I got there, everyone welcomed me in. It was great. Like even with the low A team, the first day I got there, everybody came up to me in the locker room, introduced themselves to me, and half of them are not American, which is kind of hard to talk to anyway, because I'm not good in Spanish. I'm from Georgia, and this I don't really do much Spanish, but they all came up to me, introduced themselves, welcomed me in like that was family, and then went up to AAA, completely different, being up there with former big leaguers, people who are about to go up to the big leagues, and then basically all Americans. They all came up to me as well and asked me how I was doing, and they all said if I had any questions to just feel free to reach out. One of the dudes who was really nice to me up there and really big on welcoming me in was Chris Davinsky, the Devo. If you know him, he's bounced around from team to team, but he also played with one of my buddies with the Angels,
Mhm.
Cooper Criswell, and he's kind of the same guy, same pitching technique as me, but he's a 6'6" righty. But that's how that went. Everybody welcomed me in. It was very good. So
Mhm. Yeah, I was all year, and here's my bias because it's the St. Lucie Mets, but I did hear a lot of amazing things through a lot of the affiliates, who, by the way, everybody's winners. Every affiliate had like winning records this year. And I did hear a lot of great stuff from the St. Lucie. Even some of the other players, Dominican players. I think like one of the shout outs big time is like Randy Guzman, who
oh yeah,
coaches told me Randy Guzman is like one of the friendliest, absolute leaders of the organization at a young age, and he'll talk to anyone, English speaking, Spanish. He's a leader and role model to everyone around as a young player, and
oh
even a
yeah.
guy like Trace Wilhoit. So I don't know what do you have any experience with guys like Randy Guzman and Trace Wilhoit, who I heard was like an assistant hitting coach as well as a player on the team.
I don't know Trace, but Guzman, he was kind of the jail guy. He would connect the Americans with the Dominicans,
Mhm.
and everybody would hang out when that happened. So Guzman's a really good dude. I really like him.
Yeah, I was hearing a lot of good stuff, a lot of bonding going on in St. Lucie. And I think overall, I always talk about this on a lot of my shows as well. And I tell everybody that, like, even though there's so much fierce competition, all my experience, even since 2013 and 2015, covering minor leagues, you guys support each other, help each other. Pitchers will help with even certain pitches, mechanics. They'll even see if you're tipping pitches. Sometimes they'll try to see it and help you out on it. So it's like overall, in your experience too, do you see that as a guy just being thrown out there as an undrafted player? Do you see that kind of support so far in those whole couple of months that you've been in the organization?
Oh yeah, even though it's a lot of competition within all the guys, everybody supports each other. Everybody wants you to do good. Everybody wants you to succeed, and in the end, everybody obviously wants to move up, but everybody wants to win too. It's a whole lot more fun when you're winning compared to losing.
Yeah.
So.
So for someone like yourself, with everything happening so fast, what kind of structure do the Mets have for you, or what are some of your plans for the rest of the off season in your own training program?
So I'm currently on a 5 day lifting schedule, and I also run 3 to 5 days a week, depending on how those lifts go, and
Mm.
then also throwing 4 to 5 days a week, depending on what the schedule says. Just like light throwing, build up a little further, light throwing, just continue doing that.
Mm. And then also, again, as a guy kind of jumping into pro ball, do you put any projections on yourself, goals, motivations? Like, what do you see in yourself as a pro baseball player in the next couple of years?
Hopefully, next couple of years, just like that tweet you said, hopefully I'll be up there pitching in the big leagues. But I don't know. I'm not sure where they're going to start me out for this year. I know the AAA thing was probably just a short stint, and because I went back to single A for the playoffs. I was going to pitch in the championship game, but we didn't make it to the championship game, sadly. And then I'm not sure. Hopefully, I'll start in high A. That's the only place I didn't get to check out. Even though I didn't play in the double A, I didn't even get to see the high A. But I'd love to start in high A, or start if I do start in low A, just work my way up.
And you may have to learn the terms because I know the Mets at this point, I say it a lot online, and now it's more of a consensus. The Mets have a top three-ish, top five farm system in all of Major League Baseball. So and it looks like it's pretty stacked with pitchers, which is why you get a lot of the piggybacking going on, especially with some of the younger arms, some of the newer arms. You might be one of those kind of like long man type pitches and
Mhm.
pitchers. I know I was mentioning a guy like Waddell, who's been in the Mets organization last year, one of those lefties who was bouncing around majors, minors, AAA. Uh, that might be some of the roles that they're going to need, especially for the lefties. Especially when you have a lefty who throws nothing but strikes, that's always going to have value. Even the kitchen sink guy, and even getting back to it too, I'm wondering based on some of your mechanics as well, the Mets might be tinkering with that too. Or is it one of those, are you one of those deceptive delivery guys as well that kind of confuses the bats in college and now in pros?
Yeah, I've got a super weird delivery. It's super fast. So I work fast pace and try to get the hitters off their timing, but I also have like a super low release height.
Hmm.
And then I can like manipulate the fastball. So like if I stay up under, it'll somewhat like seem like it's rising to the hitter. And if I stay on top, it'll just have a huge sink. So I have like 2 to 3 different fastballs I can throw two at the same time. And then I think sometimes my release height's like 4'2" or like 3'11" sometimes, but it's always under 5 foot. And that's like if you have it under 5 foot, this is like one of the only analytics I know. It's like it plays more deceptively to the hitter or something. So it like seems like it's rising to the hitter. I'm
Yeah, I
not
bet.
sure if you're familiar with the Hayden Harris guy who just got called up with the Braves.
Oh.
He has a super low release height and he only throws like 90, 91. He's about the same. He went to Georgia Southern, so I played him in college too, growing up. So
Okay, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. This could be some of the projections for a guy like you. It's always hard to project players and prospects, especially arms, but a lefty arm that throws nothing but strikes with college experience, just these guys fly. Not always from low A to triple A in 3 weeks, but these guys can move fast. So wherever you end up, or wherever you start out of camp, you may end up double A, triple A either way by 2026 next season. So a lot of you fans better keep an eye on Colton Cosper in case he makes some huge leaps. You're going to know that you met him and heard about him here first. And as we get towards a little bit towards the end of the interview, I also want to give some time for you to give some personal shout outs, coaches, teammates, staff, even someone who helped you along the way, even to get to the Mets. Uh, this is your time to shine, man. Who helped you go from just in college, fighting to stay in the rotation, and then all of a sudden you're signed, sealed, delivered, and all of a sudden in pro ball chasing your dream?
Definitely all my coaches at Mercer. I stayed at Mercer for 4 years, which in today's game is very rare to stay at a school for 4 years, especially with the portal and everything.
Mhm.
So I was very close to all my coaches at Mercer. Craig Gibson, Tanner Gordon, Willie Stewart, Matt Williams. They all really helped me. And then growing up, playing in the Canes organization, I grew up around some people who knew a lot of scout stuff. So Tyler Medge was my coach growing up. He helped me a lot. The Petty brothers with the Canes, they helped me a lot. Frankie Everett with the Canes helped me a lot. And then obviously my friends and family all support me. And it's been a crazy ride and I'm super grateful for it all. So just hopefully keep working so I'll be here for a long time.
I hope so too. And I'm going to be here all along the way. That's what I do. That's what I'm known for as the prospect hugger on X and online, on social media, and on YouTube. This is the New York Mets Dove Report, sponsored by maxmets.blogspot.com. And even old Mac, the head, the chief of the site, he loves your slider. So keep improving the slider, whether it's a sweeper. I know some guys end up moving to the hard slider, all these fancy terms that are above my head, especially. But and I know about the new cutter, the new phase of all New York's Mets pitchers at this point. Listen, man, it was a pleasure having you on the show. I'd love to have you back. I look forward to seeing your journey as it continues into spring because a lot of my fans, like myself, I'm already waiting for February. Enough with the off season before it even starts. I want to get back to Mets baseball, even specifically minor leagues. And again, everyone, keep an eye on Colton Cosper. So when he starts making those jumps and leaps, when he finds himself shoved into Queens one day and no one's heard of him, you're going to actually know about him. You can start hitting up all the beat writers and say, hey, man, Dove was talking about him a year ago, 2 years ago. This is where you heard it first. Thank you so much for being on the show. Everybody out there to continue to support the show on the New York Mets Dove Report. I got more good things coming. I got another player, one of my player friends. I'll try to get out there, get into the interview when he can fix it in his schedule. But for now, thank you to Colton Cosper and everybody. I'll see you next time.